Welcome to the One Love, One Faith podcast, where we use the love of Christ and faith in His Word to navigate Christian living in the 21st century. Remember to follow us on social media at onelove_onefaith. Hey out there, hola, que lo que?
Hello, everyone.
My name is Camille,
And I'm Arantia.
and you're listening to the One Love, One Faith podcast.
Yay! So today we have something very, very, very juicy. And it is coming from our guys.
Right, it's a love zone week.
It is a love zone week. And so as women, we know what it is that we want from like a man or a partner, especially when you are a woman who is pursuing God actively. You know what you want from a godly man, right? And of course, this is different across the board. It's different depending on who you meet. But sometimes we actually want to hear from the guys. So this week we did a Q&A and we asked a few guys some of the qualities that they feel as if a woman should have.
Right.
And also some red flags, and they were quite interesting.
They were responsive, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the One Love Nation really ate up the last male-centric topic, so we decided that we needed to do it again because you guys really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yep.
But before we jump into all of that, can we give a shout out to Australia?
Yes, we can.
Australia. We're international, baby.
Now, Australia has already been on the list.
Yes.
But they just they increased and increased.
Right, yeah.
And now they're in number 4.
Yeah,
The fourth spot. So they overtook Canada and they overtook Germany. So
with the number of downloads, and we are happy.
yeah.
Our Australian family, we welcome you again, and we love that you are tuning into the One Love One Faith podcast.
Yes.
Please share with all your family, friend, uncle, brothers, and cousins.
Yes,
appreciate
we
it.
see you guys.
We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. All right, so our get to know us question is going to reflect it's going to correspond with
The topic.
The
today.
topic, yeah?
Yeah. Okay, so, friend,
Yes.
is there any quality of yours
Mm-hmm.
that you believe potential partners may view as a red flag?
I would say that I think that they would think that I am not approachable.
Okay.
Just because for you know me, like I'm always reading the room. I'm always trying to figure out like people. Like I'm very observant. So I will sit and I will like figure out if this is like my space. Like how much do I indulge? Can I be my full self? Like, you know, I read the room, and so I take a bit of time to like warm up and just like get in there. But once I'm in there, like we cousins. You feel me? So I think and I've heard this previously that you know, because of maybe how I looked, that I wasn't necessarily the most approachable when it comes to like relationship wise. I don't know, man. That ain't true though. Hit me up.
Oh, she said
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Don't be
Calm
joking.
down,
Slide
guys.
in the DMs. Don't joke. Don't joke about that. I'm not joking. Slide in her DMs, y'all. Anyway.
Anyways, friend,
Yeah.
what do you think? Do you think you have any qualities that could possibly be a red flag?
I'm very talkative. I don't know if men like that all the time. Like, I like to talk about, you know, I like to talk about a lot. Like,
I think Camille is very...
I talk about a lot. Like, I mean, I want to talk about everything and little things and little parts of your day and random stuff. And yeah, so I don't know. That might be a turnoff for some men, which this will make a lot more sense when you hear some of the red flags and topics that we were given. But yeah, going off of their list, I think I might be talkative.
I don't think so. Okay, question. Before
Okay.
we jump into that part,
Yeah.
question.
Yes,
If you know me,
Yes.
we're good friends.
we are.
And we have deep conversations about these topics, eh?
True.
So, based on what you know about me,
Uh-huh.
what do you think would be like a potential red flag that somebody probably would look at me and be like, that's a red flag?
Oh no.
What would be?
I think a guy might. Now,
Might.
he would be incorrect about this assumption. But from the
Okay.
outside,
Uh-huh.
if he wanted to approach you, like you said, maybe you're intimidating sometimes because you don't look approachable. But I think maybe from the outside, just meeting you or wanting to meet you, observing you in your natural habitat, like I think he might think that because of how, fashion oriented you are, how put together you are, I think he might be like, oh, that's a hot gal. Nah, I don't know. I don't know if I can approach her. Or, some of the guys, we'll get to this, mention materialistic. I think they might make the wrong assumptions from appearance only.
Yeah.
I think so.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see
They'd be
where-
wrong,
Of course.
They'd definitely be wrong.
100%.
I know you, and I know that they would be incorrect about that. But I think maybe they'd be like, I just don't know. Might be a red flag. Yeah.
I get
Okay,
that.
so what about me? I think you kind of know me, but not that much.
For you, honestly, I think that because, and I'm just saying this because I have, most of my friends are guys.
Okay.
And so I feel like because of how detailed you are with certain things, like I feel like that they would seem like, oh my God, this girl. But like when I say details, I mean like if we're going on a trip, Camille would like to know, okay, but if we are going to drive 50 miles, like how much tank of gas do we need to go to here? Like, okay, but are we stopping at the gas station to like take bathroom breaks? Or are we just like stopping and feeding ducks? Like that, Camille is very, 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 very detailed. Nothing, and I think that sometimes they will look at that and be like, girl, what is wrong with you?
I'm laughing because I've been in a relationship where I was told that sometimes I just need to
Go
chill,
with the flow.
like just flow. What is going on? But we need to know these things.
Yeah.
Planning helps. Anyway, I'm not gonna do that. Yes, I receive that. I don't know if I can change it, but I receive what you're saying.
Yeah, and also too, what you said, not because somebody is well put together or takes pride in like how they look and takes pride in being like fashionable or feminine in some instant that you should assume that they're someone who is like materialistic or stuff like that, because
Exactly.
that could be a wrong assumption. So if you think that about me, you're wrong.
Defensive, are we? No, just joking. All right, so let's get into it. We asked them once again. What we asked them was, what are qualities you look for in a woman, and what are red flags that you avoid?
Right.
Okay.
Now, I ain't gonna lie to you. The way the guys, first of all, when we asked the questions, let me just say this. The guys came up with the red flags even before they even talked about the qualities. Like, they had that on their chest. Like, they could not wait to get it off. And let me tell you, it's almost like what they were saying was coming from the bottom of their foot bottom. So I asked them, what are some red flags? Some of the guys were like, me hate. I'm like, hate? Okay. Like, they were like, I really hate this. And I'm like, okay.
No, they were really, really in tune with what they tried to avoid.
Yeah.
And it seemed, like you said, like they were coming from an unfortunate prior experience.
Right. Right. Very passionate about it. And hey, that's your preference, That's your preference.
Right. Now, obviously, when you're dating, when you're entering relationships, you have to communicate with your partner and get to know the person that you are interested in, that you are dating, that you're building a relationship with or pursuing marriage with. So these are just a collection of trends from a particular survey of men, okay? So it's not like you should take it as, like, oh, well, men don't like this and men don't like that.
Right.
We're just sharing like a little sampling size of the One Love Nation and their thoughts. But obviously, you'd want to pay attention to the man, ladies out there. You'd want to pay attention to the man that you're talking to.
Yeah.
But these are just general guidelines,
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily saying, oh, you shouldn't be this because, most or the
Right.
guys that One Love Nation talked about don't like this, or you shouldn't do this because this. I feel like a person asked me, "Oh, what do you think about my answer?" And I was like, "Hey, like I want you to understand that you should feel free to believe what you believe and want what you want." And
Right.
not feel like, oh, what you want is too much because of someone else. I feel like you can find a partner who's like, oh no, I'm 100% okay with this. So I feel like certain things that are mentioned on the list is going to be respective to a person or a relationship or a couple. So
Of course, right.
don't just take this and apply it to your relationship, because it doesn't have to be.
Right. We're just having an interesting discussion
Yes.
as we viewed the trends, that we saw in everyone's answers.
Yes.
So let's get into it. So we're going to start with the red flags.
Yeah.
Because the men started with the red flags.
They did.
For the most part. So we're
did.
going to start with that. Now, we had the most comments. We're going to tell you the
Yeah.
top 3.
Yeah.
So the most comments were about being talkative or loud.
Yeah.
Okay. And we'll describe these in greater detail.
Yeah.
Talkative or loud was number 1. Being dominant and independent was number 2. And number 3 was not reciprocating in a relationship. Okay.
Right.
So those are the top 3 red flags, the things they avoid, the things that they do not like. Okay.
Now, when it comes to being talkative or even being loud, I could understand. Because for me personally, I would not want to be in a space where I'm just like worried about, oh my God, what is he going to say? Like, I don't want to be like,
Pipe it down.
like pipe it down or like waving at them from the side of the room. So I could understand that. And then honestly, when it comes to loudness, when it comes to females, that has never been something that I like how loud you are. That has always been something that guys always talk about, being something that's not attractive to them. So
Yeah.
I understand that. Now, another part of being talkative, guys talked about, was being confrontational or argumentative. And I could understand that too, because if you're going to assert yourself as the male, and then of course you're going to, if you are not one of those people who are like, oh, let's look at, I don't want to say equality because it sounds bad, but if you're a person who's like, I'm the head, and you're doing it in a healthy, godly way, let me just say that, right? That you would not want your partner to be argumentative or challenge some of the things that you say,
Okay.
or talk over you, talk louder than you, stuff like that. So I could understand that.
Yeah.
But they said one thing and it resonated with me. This one thing, this stood out to me because I felt that not only women do this, but people in general do this.
Yes.
So one person said, being disrespectful but claim that this is how they are, right? And I think that when we see these things and when people are saying, hey, that was disrespectful, don't just be like, oh, that's how I am, because that's not an excuse. Like, being rude or being disrespectful is not a good trait to have. It's not a good attribute to have. And so if your partner says this to you, don't look at it like as an attack, but more so look at it from a standpoint of, okay, like, how do I not only respect my partner, but how do I ensure that I'm working on this internally? That way, not only do I not disrespect him, but others outside, because I really think that, that whole mindset of this is how I am and you should just accept it. Especially if it's a negative trait, we cannot have that mindset. We need to definitely throw that outside, because that is not even supposed to be in your house.
No, I understand what you're saying. Right. Like, just make sure you check. Wait, am I off-putting?
Yeah.
Is it something I can change, something I want to change?
Yeah.
So this was funny to me, saying talkative, because I just shared that I am talkative, and like, men, you don't want us to talk too much, but that's what we do. Like, I think that stereotypically speaking, generally speaking, that women talk. I mean, they're talkative. Anyway, I'm talkative with whoever I'm dating, like work stories, random daily little things. So I wasn't really sure how to feel about it. But when we saw the guys elaborating on it, it really wasn't just, hey, don't talk too much. It wasn't that.
Right.
It was about being loud or argumentative, and I can see the difference there. So communication and sharing is not the same thing that the guys are saying here.
Right.
It wasn't about that. It was talking in a way that's too aggressive for them, or loud, or wanting to assert over them. So there is a difference when we say being talkative. It wasn't just, hey, you're oversharing right now. It wasn't just that.
Yeah. And it's so, it's so funny too. I would have thought that, actually, I'm not even surprised. I'm lying. I'm not surprised. I thought that communication would be like at the top of the list, but it wasn't.
It
Like
really
probably
wasn't.
like 2 people actually mentioned effective communicator.
Right.
But I'm not surprised because honestly, I don't think that most females have always, that I've spoken to, I'm not generalizing, I'm just saying most females that I've spoken to, they've always craved for that. That's the number one thing that they wish their partner would improve on when it comes to that communication. I would like for my partner to communicate more, to communicate better. So the fact that only 2 guys said that,
I think it supports that.
could be. Now, guys, tell me if I'm wrong. Do you guys not value communication, or is it not on the top of the list? I want to know.
Well, on our survey, it wasn't.
Definitely wasn't.
Okay, so the next red flag was being dominant. So too bossy or too independent. Those were the common attributes of what they said when they said being too dominant. Now, here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
And this will come up a few times while we dissect their answers. But there's a thin line sometimes between what the men were calling a quality and what they were calling a red flag.
Yes.
Because there was overlap, okay? So it was really interesting to me how something in moderate quantity was good, but too much.
Yeah,
and
it's
it was
overbearing.
bad. Everything in moderation, right? They say too much of anything is bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But with independence, the men are saying, like, don't be too clingy and depend on me for everything, but don't boss me around or be so fully self-sufficient that I don't feel needed.
Yeah.
And that one part, though, is something I hear a lot from men. It's like, what do you need me for? Like, what do you need me for?
If you have everything, you don't need me.
Right. They want to feel needed. So I've heard that before. I understand what they're saying, but that thin line thing is kind of hard to walk sometimes. Or, like we said, specific to the person you're with.
It is.
Knowing what they want.
Right. I think you need, especially when it comes to this whole independence thing, I think you need to have a conversation about, like, what is expected in a relationship, because for some guys it's like, oh, like, I want this to be this way, but make sure it's not, like, if it's on a scale of 1 to 10, make sure it's a 4, but not like a 6. Like, it's very hard to measure. And I think that for some people, for me, I was kind of confused as to, okay, do you want this or do you not want it? Do you want independence or do you not want independence? So I think that when it comes to your person, I think you have to talk about the degree of what you would like. I think what they were trying to say, though, is more of, don't expect me to do everything for you but I think it's more of like, I think they were coming from more of like a financial standpoint than anything else, though. That's what I got. Tell me if I'm wrong, guys.
And then the last most common red flag was not reciprocating. And so they were saying things like, you're not doing for me as I am doing for you, or you're a user, or you're unappreciative, someone who's self-centered or doesn't give back. And I could really feel the guys on this, because we do require, I think as women, we require a lot from them, but we also have to make sure that we're making them feel special and surprising them with time and gifts and making them, feel wanted, and they need to feel appreciated just like we want to feel that way. And so being in the man's position, I think we tend to expect that they're going to spoil us and cater to us more frequently, but we should do the same for them.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think we have to pay attention to our partners. Make sure that nobody is in need or lack or feel neglected. And I think that when it comes to relationship, I personally, the type of like atmosphere I would like to create for my relationship is to have sit down to be like, hey, how are you feeling? Like, where are you? Like, do you feel like I'm doing this, or do you feel like I'm doing that? Because I want that. I don't want my partner to go about feeling like, oh, she don't care, or oh, she feels as if, you know,
She
this
didn't
is okay,
notice
or,
everything
yeah,
I
you know what I
did.
mean. So that's why we really and truly encourage love languages, and knowing your partner's love language, knowing how your partner loves to feel loved and love to be loved, because this can also help you in knowing how to treat them. And also, ladies, if you want to be treated like a queen, you have to learn how to reciprocate that. And if you have a king, treat him like a king as well. We cannot expect that all the time. We are spoiled, and the Valentines we get the flowers and stuff like that. We have to make sure that if he gets the flowers, something else, I don't know, perfume, whatever it is, perfume, cologne. Jesus, cologne, guys. But make sure that, you know, especially if it's like, you know, anniversaries or what have you, that not only one person shows up with a gift, you know what I mean, or not only one person is planning something. You know, so just make sure that that is reciprocated. Yeah.
And I think we should tell them, you know, some of the other red flags that were mentioned. So these weren't very, very numerous, but here are some of the others. So being negative, meaning that, you know, you have negative energy or you're pessimistic.
Yeah.
And then also that this was mentioned by more than one contributor. So you're unwilling to accept your faults or admit that you're wrong.
True.
So that was one.
I like that. I really do like that, because sometimes when we hear, oh, you know, maybe you need to work on this, we feel it as if it's an attack, and we can't, you know, just make sure you pay attention to that. So bad hygiene is under that. They talked about, you know, wearing revealing clothing, or just, you know, they talked about how they feel embarrassed when their females are not necessarily dressed or clothed properly. So we have to make sure that we're looking at that, you know. You know, they said that being tidy or being untidy is something that they don't like, or not being clean in terms of like your house or what have you. So ladies, they've spoken. They have spoken.
Okay, so let's switch over to the qualities that they look for now. Yay. Okay?
Yes.
So the qualities that they're seeking. And top three, top categories, because there were a lot to kind of distribute and to sort through. So there was a very clear winner, number one spot, which was being caring.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So being supportive and motivating, it was very important to the guys. And I think this speaks to the biblical purpose of women, you know, the way God created us to be a helpmeet, a partner to what they're doing. And what man doesn't want a woman who can bring him up when he's down and whisper encouragement into his ear when he feels like the world is just, you know, he's having a hard day or a hard week and the world is beating him up. They have to be so tough in the world and in the life, and be a strong protector and provider. And so I can understand how that's very comforting. And as a Black woman, I have to acknowledge that especially our Black and brown men are facing so much out there. Yeah. So when they come home to their partner, I think they deserve somewhere nurturing.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I stand with you guys on that one. I also, you know, think when guys talked about like the caring aspect of it, you see some of them talk about not only caring for them and their families and their friends, but also caring for others. And, you know, True. They talked about, you know, being in service. They talked about, you know, servicing the homeless. And I love that, you know, they're not necessarily just thinking about, oh, you know, make sure that I'm good, but also taking care of others. And that brings me to Proverbs 28, verses 21 or 27, which says that whosoever gives to the poor will lack nothing, but those who close their eyes to poverty will be cursed, right? And so we have to be mindful that not only should we show this in our relationships, but also make sure that, you know, the others around us, that we are being, you know, helpful, and remembering that we are also called to help the less fortunate.
Yes, that's important. So then this next batch kind of came in second place. So they mentioned independence, which you'll notice is a red flag.
It is.
And a quality, like I mentioned. So independence, appearance appeared again. Honesty and ambition. Okay, so these all came in second place. Now, we talked a lot about independence under the red flag. You see it here again because what they're saying now as a positive quality is that they want a woman who can stand up for herself and who is willing to work hard. But remember, don't be too independent.
Don't be too independent.
Is what they're saying,
because
right?
you won't need them if you're too independent.
Right. And I'll be honest, I think that depending on the man you're dealing with, this is going to be different.
Yeah.
Different places, different markers, and hard to navigate, you know?
Yeah, 100%. So like we said, this is going to be a conversation for individual couples, yeah? Figure out, because, you know, some guys are like, oh, I don't want to bear all the bills. And one person will be like, no, I want to take care of the bills. That's how I was raised.
Yeah.
Hey, different strokes for different folks. Talk to your partner.
Gotta talk it out.
See what works. If this works for you, then hey, kudos to you. If it doesn't, talk about it, see what does.
Right.
Yeah?
Now, when it comes to appearance, in second place, the guys weren't saying, oh, we want this physical attribute or this physical attribute. It was less about physical characteristics and more about wanting someone who cares about their physical health and their physical fitness and who had good hygiene. Okay. So ladies out there, good hygiene. They didn't go into details about what parts of it, but good hygiene. Okay.
And it's so weird because I thought that this would also be a quality that was named. You know, like appearance when it comes to like beauty or whatever. Because, I mean, it's the first thing that you see. But, you know, it wasn't mentioned. But I think that even though it wasn't mentioned, it's still at the top of the list. Because, of course, you want somebody who is not only beautiful outside, but also inwards.
Right, but and also physically appealing to you.
Yeah, right.
Of course.
But I also agree with this good hygiene part because... You know, like, for the men, from my perspective, you know, I like groom man, you know, like, comb your hair and, you know, got a barber. Get your line up. Well, you know, them with it. Yeah. Well, no, I think that when it comes to, like, you know, women putting themselves together, it is very attractive. But I also want guys to know that we find when you put yourself together and you dress up and you look nice and you smell nice, that is also attractive as well. Don't think that it's just one-sided, you know? Right. So got comb your ear, got a barber, trim up yourself. Yeah.
Okay, so also in this batch of second place was honesty. And I think that's pretty self-explanatory. We know how important trust is in a relationship. And no one wants a partner that is lying to them, whether big or small.
Honestly, when it comes to honesty, yeah, I think this varies because someone always say, oh, I want you to be honest with me, I want you to be truthful to me, tell me exactly what it is that, you know, you see or you don't like, and you would say it and then it becomes offensive to them. And so I am going to say this, that if you require honesty and if you require truth, that you are in a space to receive it and that you don't think of it, like, again, I say, as an attack, but more so a way to work on yourself and work on, you know, creating a healthier space for your relationship and for, you know, better communication with you and your partner.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there was ambition, the last one in the group of second place, okay? So we have to talk about this thin line again because men are looking for ambition, you know, but not when it comes at the price of building a home and family together well, or if it means you have less time for him, or if it makes you feel dominant over them, if you're exercising dominance over them. Yeah. So ambition did appear on both lists. And it's really interesting because it wasn't just that half of the men said ambition was a good quality and then some others said that it was a red flag. It was that the same men were using the word ambition on both lists, you know, as if there's a limit to how ambitious you could be before it turned, you know, from a quality they want into a red flag, you know. So it's not just, oh, well, there were different people in the survey. No, it was the same people. So that tells you that there's a limit, you know.
Yeah. So you're actually right. We saw that, you know, commonality when it comes to, like, you know, the ambition and the independence. And so when you see most of the guys who were talking about ambition or independence, they're saying, hey, a woman who is overly ambitious oftentimes are too independent oftentimes believe that she doesn't need her partner's help, and so they want to make sure that yes, you have ambition, yes, you're independent, but not too much, because we want to feel like we're needed in the situation. And for some guys, when it comes to, you know, being overly ambitious, it can seem as a little bit competitive, and they don't want that necessarily, because it interferes with, you know, how they see themselves as the alpha male. And so, hey man,
it's just really interesting.
Yeah, it's
That's all
very
we're saying.
interesting.
It's
Very
interesting.
interesting. We don't know, because clearly we don't know nothing. So hey, if you
I
need
think
us
what
to-
it shows is that, you know, I think it does take a special graceful femininity to walk the lines that they're talking about. And maybe it just boils down to that, you know?
yeah.
But anyway, so the next batch kind of like tying for third place was being respectful, being a godly woman, and being family oriented. Okay. So when they spoke about being respectful, when they described exactly what they meant, what I really saw was that they wanted someone submissive, you know?
Yeah.
So it's not that they were concerned that you'd be like disrespectful and name calling. It was that they wanted someone who would yield to their place as the man and to their decision making as the leader. Someone even said that they wanted someone fierce, right? But who did so in a respectful way.
Yeah.
You know? So I think once again we see this line where it's like some is good, but too
not-
much,
Yeah.
and I'm going to be turned off.
I see that. And then, you know, we have another one on the list, which is godly. And, you know, sadly, with this was not high on the list. And I really thought that this was something that was going to be mentioned a lot, but you don't see a lot of men mentioning this. Now, I'm not certain if it's because some of the guys that we talked to were not Christians, but even like from my experience, like talking to guys, even if they're not Christians sometimes, that would always be something that they mention. I want somebody who knows God, or I want somebody who believes in God, or even I want somebody who is actively searching for God or serving God. They found that attractive, because even, you know, in my adulthood or now, I find that people who have taken like an interest in me, even when they feel as if they cannot walk the road that I'm walking, or they cannot be the man that I am looking for in terms of like somebody who is actively seeking God, they still love and find, you know, me searching, or me, you know, worshiping God or making God the forefront of my life. They find that attractive. So to see that, or to see that not mentioned, even with the experience that I've had over the past years, it was kind of alarming. I ain't gonna lie. I was surprised by it. I don't know.
Yeah,
Guys.
it was lacking a bit. Yeah. Not very many comments came in. And then also in third place, like we mentioned, was being family oriented. So the comments that came in about family were just being like the actual being able to birth kids, but also for the men that want children, that was one of the attributes. But also being able to take care of and groom kids for success. So that did make the top 3 of qualities they look for. So,
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Some of the other ones that were mentioned were intelligence and fun as in adventure and spontaneity. And then also femininity made an appearance, as well as confidence.
Several times,
Okay.
yeah. But not overly confident. That actually happened. One person used confident, and then as a quality and also as a red flag.
Right.
You know, so ladies, you can be confident, but not too confident, because that's a red flag.
Too much of anything.
Yeah, too much of one thing, no good.
So there was a comment that really stood out. I wanted to quote it, okay? It says, "A good quality is weakness, because I can get through to her better. Weakness in a woman should be a plus, because you'll always look to your man and find ways to help him help you." Yeah. So that was a quote. Now, I specifically pulled it out because I know that the women listening are going to be like, what?
That's what we said too.
I know that's what they're going to do. But thank you for contributing. And the reason we're picking on your answer, if you're listening, is just because I want to point out that we want to be really careful about what we call weakness.
Right.
Because I hope, you can write in and let me know if I'm wrong, but I hope what you're saying, I think what he's saying, is that submission is what he finds beauty in. And we don't want to equate submission with weakness,
right.
okay? Submission and the ability to acquiesce to someone, like to just give way to someone else, is not a weakness. It is the exact opposite. It is a strength to be able to do that and not feel slighted. And it is something that God calls women to do to a godly man, mind you. But yes, I think I do understand where this gentleman wanted to go with that comment, but I wanted to just put that warning out there that it's not a weakness. Weakness has a negative connotation.
Yeah,
right.
True.
Submission is a strength.
Right. And if you are if your partner is someone who is submitting in a godly way, then I could understand your comment. But like Camille said, the weakness thing kind of sounds a little bit, weird in a sense, Right. I think that a woman's ability, I feel like her ability to allow you to lead is definitely not a weakness. I think that it is an attribute, and it shows that she respects you and trusts you, not only with, as the head and, trusts you with leading the family, but it shows that she is not only seeing you as godly, hopefully that's where you're looking at, you're looking at it from a godly standpoint, but that you're also submitted to God, and she respects that and wants to submit under you because that's the order in which God has given it, so
right.
Yeah, definitely not. But I don't think that you meant like a weakness type of vibe, but I think I understand what you're saying, but hopefully we can help you rephrase it a little bit. Yeah.
Right.
Another one that's stuck out to me was someone talking about body count, and I felt like I wanted to address this just because when it comes to this particular topic, I think that there can be a double standard. Just because, when it comes to females, females are expected, make sure you don't have more than this, or make sure you don't have more than that. Meanwhile, you are a person who can be expecting this but has 10 times more than what you are expecting. And I think that of course, this is an important conversation that I think everybody should have, just because of, spiritual reasons. Of course, you want to make sure that you and your partner understand the spiritual warfares that you might might experience through this. If you guys haven't been abstaining, or if you haven't been practicing celibacy, whatever it is, right? But you want to make sure that when it comes to this topic, that there's not a double standard, and and that you're not judging one person because this is what you feel, and don't ridicule a person because it sounds good to you. I don't know, but be careful of those double standards. Yeah. All right.
And then some things I expected to see more was just the word peace. I hear a lot of men say that, like, be my peace, So I expected men to say it more often. But, then again, they did say, don't talk too much.
So I guess that's falls under it.
Maybe that's related. No, I'm just joking. I think being supportive, they did mention that as the number one quality. So maybe that was kind of related,
Yeah.
And then also, maybe I'm just antiquated, but I really expected more people to mention making a house a home and just more of the but maybe that's a good thing, like cooking and cleaning and things like that. I expected for it to be mentioned by more men, but I'm not exactly disappointed that it wasn't. I'm just saying, okay. I just expected it.
I was surprised just because some of the people that I asked were Jamaican, and because because our culture is more of a woman nurturing the home, a woman making sure you cook, clean, and so forth and so forth. Right. I mean, you learn to do those things when you were younger.
True.
So I would expect that would be on the list, but hey, we never make it that much. Maybe we're changing, and maybe the culture is changing. Who knows?
Right. No, that's good.
I mean, that's a good thing.
Maybe our sample of men are not, prescribing to any old-fashioned gender role. I mean, you know.
Just don't be too independent for them. No, guys, we appreciate you guys commenting and giving us your feedback. And of course, it's something to think about. It's something that is, you know, I think everybody can pull something from, you know. Females can pull something from and, you know, be more aware of certain things. You know, you may never know.
Yeah. So we hope hopefully it was thought-provoking, or, you know, if you're a guy who has something that you absolutely think needs to be on the list that was not mentioned, then let us know what you think might have been left out. Okay?
Yep.
So, friends, how am I going to pray about this tonight? I really don't, you know, I'm not quite sure.
Let's just pray that as we are choosing our spouse, that we are praying, or we're intentionally praying about the qualities that are not only compatible for us, but godly qualities, and that God is at the forefront of our relationships. Yeah?
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for your tender grace, mercy, and love that you afford us each day. Thank you for protecting us and sending your angels to camp around us. Thank you for the One Love, One Faith podcast, and for the One Love Nation, and for our contributors. We are praying for the One Love Nation as they seek partners for those who are unmarried. We are praying that we would all seek you first as we search for a partner, and we're praying that we would exhibit godly characteristics that we wish to see in our partners as well, and that we'll only seek people that are pleasing to you and whose union with us will be pleasing to you. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen.
Amen. Guys, this is week 53, eh?
53. First installment on the road to 2 years.
Yay.
Yep.
We appreciate you guys sticking with us for a whole year and change. And just expect more. We're trying to do some revamp when it comes to the One Love, One Faith podcast. But just know we appreciate every single one of you guys. We appreciate you guys reaching out to us and answering our questions and stuff like that. And don't forget, share it with your uncle, your auntie, your brother, and your cousin.
Oh my goodness. Thanks for tuning in, One Love Nation. Te amo. You know where we're gonna be next week, same time, same place. Hasta la próxima.
Au revoir. She thinks she's the only one that knows foreign language. Girl, bye.
Oh my goodness. Peace.
Bye. Hey, One Love Nation. Thanks for listening to the One Love, One Faith podcast. We love our listeners, and we hope you will join us again next week. Please share the One Love, One Faith podcast, and always remember that each day is an opportunity to show His love and grow your faith.